This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewers' discretion is advised. This show may contain strong language and sensitive or controversial topics. We are not attorneys and are not providing legal advice. The views and conversations are our own thoughts and feelings, and therefore, purely speculation.
The entertainment world and beyond.
Skywalker air miles, feeding on a surface, gliding on water, constricted and conflicted.
Welcome to Purely Speculation, a show that exposes the harmful effects of the criminal legal system. I'm your host, Heather Lewis, the Executive Director of the Reuniting Family Bail Fund and practitioner of participatory defense. On this show, you'll learn about the unspoken horrors of the criminal justice system and meet fierce allies and advocates. We will make the best of our traumatic experiences. We will get angry. We may even cry. We most certainly going to laugh, but one thing's for sure, we're going to keep it real. Welcome to Purely Speculation.
When they free my sins and let them loose, they was killing me, I got a scar to prove, got me paralyzed, I could even barely move. Out the way I took the pain again.
Good evening. Welcome to Volume 6 of Purely Speculation, Court Watch Edition. We have our Court Watch phenom, Taria, with us this evening. And I always say that we have a unique show, or this show is going to be unique and special, but every show is unique and special because we try to bring to you the twists and turns of our everyday lives, the twists and turns of the criminal legal system, how it impacts our lives. That we've learned to expect the unexpected, and we probably the first time we had an unexpected circumstance, Taria, I think in our just couple of years of doing this now, is the untimely passing of longtime attorney for the Norristown community and Montgomery County in a whole, Michael Quinn. Can you talk to us about Michael Quinn, the impact that he's had on our community in the criminal legal space, and also to all of his clients, former clients, folks that had him as their attorney, still having open cases? What's happening?
So yes, hey, hello, how's everybody tonight?
All right.
And as Heather said, Michael Quinn, first and foremost, we'd like to just give our special condolences out to his family and friends, and also to the PA Law Association, because they took a major loss.
Right.
Michael Quinn was a great lawyer for over 30 years. Michael Quinn came out of Philadelphia, and then he became a lawyer here. Temple Law grad, and he became a dominant lawyer here in Montgomery County.
Right.
And Michael Quinn is not only a criminal attorney, but he also does civil suits also. So he didn't just have clients that were hardened and hurt by his loss on just defense advocacy on the criminal side. He also lost people that were fighting criminal civil cases for like estates and also accident suits. So from my understanding is that a lot of Michael Quinn's clients were not informed of his passing.
Wow.
And a lot of them are finding out through the grapevine, or they're finding out when they come to court and they get reassigned another judge, or they're finding out from Whisper Down the Lane.
Right. That's
so
crazy.
no official letter or anything has went out to his former clients at all. But from my understanding, his wife is still handling his estate and all of his business. Her name is Maria Quinn, and she is out of 411 Cherry Street in Norristown, Pennsylvania, 19401. And her phone number is 610-272-8600. And if anyone that is a former or past client of Michael Quinn that has any questions or concerns about their information, their money, their cases, and where do they go from here, they need to get in touch with his wife ASAP to find out what to do next.
And so, Taria, let me just reiterate that his wife is in official capacity to accept this. We're not just saying, hey, call his wife, right? This is
Yes.
the official statement that we've been given, or that you've been
Yes.
given from the people that you're talking to, that his wife is handling his affairs, that his wife will be able to direct current clients, former clients, any clients that have outstanding debts with him, or, anything open or pending, or, recently closed. His wife is the official point of contact. Not just us saying, hey, call his wife, because we don't know what to do, right? This is legit information. And I'm just going to repeat the address: 411 Cherry Street in Norristown. And the phone number is 610-272-8600. So if you need to hit her up, about your case or pending case, or anything that has transpired with you and Michael Quinn as his client, reach out, leave a message, be patient, because she is grieving, and this is a heck of a thing to have to take on while grieving the loss of your husband, your life partner. And we know it's going to be extremely difficult. So please have patience with Miss Quinn and trying to get some of that, your case resolved in that manner. And so again, like Taria said, we definitely offer our most sincerest condolences to the family, because this was truly, unexpected. And however we can help folks navigate that process, we're here for you.
Yes.
So on to, that was the bad news that we had for this particular Court Watch case episode, aside from me having this crazy coughing attack. We got to watch, you got to watch a case with David Lucas. Tell us about David Lucas. And we're going to shout out Judge Rothstein in advance before I start choking myself to death with this cough. I'm going to shout out Judge Rothstein, because she has had a tremendous turnaround, at least in our eyes. I don't know if her counterparts and colleagues appreciate her really delivering justice these days, but she's been delivering justice these days as far as we're concerned, considering the cases that we've had, the severity of the cases that we've had come before her, and the outcomes that she's been giving that are contrary to what her reputation said of her prior to us watching her courtroom. So tell us about that case with Mr. Lucas and Judge Rothstein.
So, yes, Judge Rothstein has definitely did a 360 from a year ago that we knew her as. And that was a harsh sentencer, and a person that we thought at first didn't understand defendants and their situation, because we had watched her hand down someone like a 40 to 80 sentence, and he had a very, very bad childhood. And after that, I was just like, wow. So David Lucas is a young man that is in his early 20s, and he was a college student. And he decided to, I guess he just decided to go out here and make a little extra money. But he decided to go make a little extra money, not just by, selling candy or starting his own little business. He decided to go and start a business of gun selling.
Right.
And he went through different tri-states, and he bought 36 guns for people that could not buy them, convicted felons, and not knowing that it was going to paper trail back to him and get back to his desk. And now, instead of him doing the next 10 years in college, he's going to be doing the next 10 years in a SCI institution.
Right.
And Daniel was actually facing up to 30 years. But Judge Rothstein, he had a powerful, powerful turnout of young people for his sentencing hearing on the 13th of April.
Right.
And he had a powerful turnout with just public figures also that supported his mother. He's his mother's only child.
Right.
And this is his first offense. And he did something very stupid. And he admitted that. He admitted his wrong. He admitted
Right.
that he made a mistake. He admitted that he made a bad decision. He admitted that he deserves the time that's coming to him. And he's going to do every bit of that time because he not only put himself in danger, but he put others in danger because
Right.
out of the 36 guns, only one was found.
Right.
So it's still 35 guns out here wild. So they can get in the hands of anybody.
Right.
So the thing is that when he made that statement, Judge Rothstein came back with to the crowd because it was a lot of young people in the crowd. And her statement coming back was, you know, this young man not only messed up his life, but he ruined a lot of other people's life also because guns are dangerous. Guns
Right.
kill and guns destroy lives. But what she wanted to be addressed is he already is going to sit for his crime. But she wanted to let everybody out here know that whoever's deciding to start a RICO
Operation.
aberration or sit out here and think they're going to sell guns and not get caught, that just because he got the 10 to 20, you might
Right.
not be lucky to get the same thing.
Right. Right.
And every situation is different. So she just wanted to let people know that think about it before you decide to do something that can sit you down for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we know that, you know, Daniel is very, very apologetic, and his mother is very heartbroken because,
Right.
like she told us before, she didn't even let him play with toy guns. So she didn't even understand how he got caught up in an organization with real guns.
Right. I think that's the power of our social media and the videos and access and just what's going on in our culture right now. That guns is just, I don't know why these young people have such a fascination with guns, but I think it's something that law enforcement is not playing with. You know what I mean? And, you know, we try to stress this as much as possible to our young people that guns aren't to be played with. If you can legally carry a firearm, then legally carry a firearm. Don't jeopardize your freedom or your ability to freely exercise your right to bear arms by purchasing firearms for people that can't possess. Like, these are things that, you know, we get caught up in still trying to be cool and trying to be this and that, you know, we don't think about the consequences of our actions, or it's not going to happen to me. And one thing that we've talked about a lot, and this is not the first case, I don't even know if it's the second case that we've had where there were this many firearms being purchased that the gun stores were not flagged. Like, the gun stores will continue to sell these young people, and particularly African American, Black American men and women, you know what I mean, guns, knowing that something's going on. Ain't no way in the world you purchase 36 firearms, you know, over the course of however many months, and there's no red flags. Now, I don't know if it's the NRA or if it's just the gun, you know, store owner. Like, I'm gonna get mine because there's no consequence. They're getting their money. They're literally selling that gun at whatever retail price they're getting for it. You know what I'm saying? So they're getting their money. They're not being penalized. They're not being charged. Something has to be done. If we don't go after these gun store owners that are allowing these young people to purchase multiple guns in a short amount of time, I mean, it goes through a record. It gets registered. I mean, yes, you're allowed to purchase firearms, but there has to be a red flag. And whether or not they care, you know, that it's you know, young Black people that are doing this, knowing that, oh, okay, I know what's going on here. They're going to end up in jail anyway. They're going to catch them down the line. I'm going to get mines now. Like, no, you don't get to set our people up like that. Something has to be done. So that's one other thing that we're not paying attention to and people aren't talking about, is that the responsibility of the gun owner, just like they started going after the doctors that are over prescribing people with opioids, they need to go after the gun shop owners that are overselling these firearms to people. So,
and I agree with you 100%. We have to start making everybody accountable for their actions behind this.
Right. Right. If we can't get the NRA to listen, we can't get the elected officials to listen. You know, we've had state representatives in Tennessee get a discharge from their office because they stood up and spoke out against the gun violence in Nashville. They're reinstated now, but like that's crazy. That's how far they go, that they will silence an elected official because they're speaking out about gun violence in their community because they're people of color. You know, it's crazy. And so, okay, so then we start boycotting. Let's find out where those gun shop owners are. Let's start doing protests in front of those shops and letting them know, yeah, this gun shop sold this, young black man 10 guns, and see what happens to their business. Like if we can't trust the powers that be, our elected officials and the NRAs and all those folks to do, then we bring it back to the community, right? We got to take care of our own. And if that's what it means, then that's what we'll start doing. We'll start looking at all these gun shop owners that are listed in these files that, oh, this is where they bought them here and they bought them here. How many did they buy there? Because I'm sure it's all in the transcript or in the record somewhere. So let's put them on notice that that's what's coming next, because this is unacceptable. You're not going to keep sending our young people to prison for something that can be avoided. So, all right. So we'll be looking to see Daniel to come home. He's already done 3 while he was going through his waiting trial and all of that. So he's got 7 years to do. And we'll just keep Daniel and his family in prayer, and hopefully that he can get the education, finish his education, do some stuff. So when he comes home, he's ready to hit the ground running and get back on track and do the good that he intended to do while he was enrolled in university.
Yes.
Okay. And so, but that, even though it sounds bad, that was a win. Because like you said, he was looking at decades in jail. And we know that firearms carry a 5-year minimum, right? So you do the math, he was looking at 180 years, regardless of what the, sentencing guidelines were. Like if we just took that one-on-one, you're looking at 180 years of incarceration. So thank you to Judge Rothstein for caring about our community, caring about all those young folks that were in that courtroom that day to hear his verdict or his sentencing, but also to hear her message that this is not something that you want to play with, because firearms will get you dead or in jail. And so we thank you for that. And then you had the pleasure of attending a wedding of one of our formerly incarcerated, one of our former juvenile lifers that you were very instrumental in getting him home, 2 years ago? Has he been home 2 years or a little
About
over?
a year and a half.
Year and a half, yeah. And so he's been home. He's got married. Please tell us, and we're trying to get Gregory to come on. And so, but just give us a highlight then. And so when we get Gregory on, he can tell his story, his own self. But for now, I'll be excited to hear your story.
Yeah, so Gregory is something special. Gregory Womack is actually originally from Norristown, Pennsylvania. He was resides in Lansdale before he had caught his case at 19 years old in Philadelphia.
Okay.
And Gregory actually was the oldest out of 4 of his co-defendants. And he was just actually the driver of the vehicle. He wasn't even in the store when the actual robbery and murder happened. Right. So he just was the driver. He didn't know the intels of what happened inside the store until, his co-Ds came out the store and told him what went down. Right. So, that little old word that gets you the most time when you don't even have to be present is conspiracy. So he was charged with conspiracy of 1st, 2nd, and 3rd degree murder, and robbery and firearms and everything, along with his co-defendants.
Right.
So as we know, a couple years ago, a nice old law passed that the juveniles got their lives overturned, and selected few have come home since then with a juvenile overturnment from the higher courts. Unfortunately, out of the 4 people, Gregory was not eligible for the juvenile internment because of his age. He was 19 at the time of the crime, and everybody else was 16 and 17 and under 18 years old. Mm-hmm. So when Gregory called me about 2 years ago, he told me I met Gregory through another client of ours up at SCI Monohoy,
Mhm.
and told me that I have a case that you might be interested in. So he had Gregory reach out to me. When Gregory reached out to me, he sent me home his discovery and his transcripts, and he also sent me home his co-defendants' names that had just got released for juvenile returnment, and he wanted me to reach out to them, and which I did. And from there, we started with a petition on change.org. And then from there, I stayed up many a nights just going over his case, try to see if we could just find something else, because they told him, we can't do nothing for you. You're going to be here for the rest of your life. And at this time, Gregory was serving 29 years already.
Right.
So that was like a blow to him, because everybody, his 3 co-defendants, were home free. And 2 of them were the trigger men. And he was nothing but just a driver. And he's got to sit for life. That had to be a doomsday. So I told Gregory when he called me, I said, guess what? We believe in somebody higher than the courts, than anybody, than the president, everybody. And that's the man that we call God. So we're going to pray this out, and we're going to work this out. And I'm going to go through these transcripts, and we're going to see what we can find. And, it's a wheels away. So just came across some new evidence, highlighted it, sent it back to him. He was able to get a family member to give him a couple of dollars to get a little attorney that was willing to take his case. And from there, about 6 months later, Gregory called me and was like, I got some good news, Ms. Mayo. I said, what? He said, I'm coming home.
Amen.
And that was a day that we both cried. It was not tears of sorrow. It was tears of hope. And he just couldn't believe it. And his mom and dad and brother and them all went up to pick him up. And it was a day that his mother just been cited for 29 years. And Gregory.
And you got to speak on his behalf also at his hearing, right?
Yes. So me and another guy that did 45 years that just came home, Mr. Lewis Lee, he we were 2 appointed to be able, because Gregory could only have 2 people at his hearing to speak for his character. And he chose me and Mr. Lee. So I felt very, very well with that. And we went down there and, pretty much he kind of did his own advocacy. We didn't really have to say much because he put in the work himself. And even after the DA tried to come with an impact statement from the victim's wife, and the victim's wife said in that she didn't want him to have, why should he have a second chance, and her husband didn't get to have a second chance. It was a harsh impact statement. And Gregory was pretty scared at first because he didn't know if the judge was going to take that and run with it. But like the judge said, when she came back with her ruling, she said, her heart and soul goes out to the family, but this man has done his time. And the new evidence came about that was not presented. And so she basically turned his life, his letters, back to numbers. So she gave him 13 to 26 years. So he got time served, double time served, because he did 29. And then she told him, I'm going to put you on 2 years probation, only because I know after 29 years of incarceration, it's going to be hard for you to get back here and get adjusted to life. So this isn't for a punishment. This is just to help you with some resources. And
you have access.
And access to everything you need. And that 2 years, Gregory is almost about to walk off.
And a married man.
Yes. And last Saturday, he walked down the aisle and he told me, when he bought me that invitation about a month ago, he said, if it wasn't for you and the help of you and the rest of the team, this wouldn't even be possible for me even to see this day.
That is so beautiful. Like it's I mean, words can't even describe how beautiful that is, because you had a young man, now, an older man, still looking at life in prison when he's seen his other, people that were involved go home for a technicality of the change in the law. And he's still sitting there and not know. I mean, like you said, doomsday, that had to be a hard pill to swallow. And I just am so thankful for, participatory defense and people just having the courage or just creating an avenue for people to have the courage to take that avenue. You know what I mean? Because sometimes that's all it takes is somebody looking, somebody, inquiring or asking and just saying, hey, what about this? And somebody says, yeah, what about that? Like, you never know. This is what I'm saying, the unexpected twists and turns. Like, who would have known from that day that he reached out to you 6 months later, however late, like he's coming home. He was like, whoa, like that. It wasn't another 10 years going through an appeal process. It was quick. So that's just, I mean, we can't say it enough how valuable this work is and how we're impacting people's lives. And now, you know, Gregory's home. He's got a wife. I'm sure he's going to get to right to making a family. You know, he said he wanted children and all that. And it's just such a blessing. And for folks to come home and find love, you know what I mean? Because he could have came home a bitter, angry person, right? He came home and found love. And that's a testament to, you know, folks that, you know, people do change and people are not a product of, you know, some of their worst decisions that they've made in their life, right? You know, we make a bad decision and for some, they're forced to live that definition for the rest of their lives. And it's unfortunate. And, you know, we're just looking to, you know, get more folks doing what we're doing, getting out there and bringing people home.
And let me tell you something real fast, just on record, so people know, because we're trying to also, you know, what we do is not just, you know, to gloat our own, you know, toot our own horns, but it's to be educated, because a lot of people I hear are not educated. Right. And to be honest, I said Gregory got a lawyer, you know. The lawyer just was because of one of his colleagues that just came home from doing 12 and a half years. And next, you know, segment, we'll talk about him because he's powerful too now.
Right.
He asked me on Saturday at the wedding, he said, but what did the lawyer really do? Because the case spoke for itself. Like, and I wanted to just put that out there because all the lawyer did was sign that paperwork and put it into the language that needed to be done for the court. Right. But really the advocacy came from Gregory, me, his cellmate. His cellmate is awesome with the law. He's a lifer. Right. He's awesome with the law, and just other people that go up there in that law library that are being that are criminals for their you know, up there, and that are defendants that fought their own cases, and they just help each other out. So he kind of advocated his own case. He just needed a lawyer to do the love language. Right. And Mr. Lee, and Mr. Lee also powerful. Right. You know, and these guys have come back to the community. Yep. They have had chances. They started a ministry. Mr. Lee is working at the public defender's office. Gregory is an entrepreneur now, has his own cleaning busince. So it is, you know, jail does not hinder you, and a criminal record does not hinder you. And they're both on top of 5 more lifers, are both ready to they then put in their paperwork for a pardon. So they just wait for that governor to sign off, so they can just get their record expunged up and be able to have a new slate and a new life, and clean slate, new life.
Right. Well, we'll pray on that, because you know the governor we got now, so we don't know how swift he is with the pen.
How quick it's gonna be.
we go you know, keep an eye on that. And that's just such good news, you know what I mean? And I just am so thankful and grateful to you. And not last but not least, but we have just a couple more things. I just want to shout out to the folks that supported us during 420 last week. For the folks that purchased your t-shirts, you missed the opportunity to get it for $14.20. It's back to $20, but hey, it's supporting a good cause. It's our cannabis leaf, for our Cannabis Chronicles. So if you want to, you know, get one for, you know, a cannabis lover or somebody that's working on cannabis legislation or the reform or the legalization, it makes a great gift. So you can hit us up for your cannabis or your 420 shirt. Also, shout out to those that dug deep and gave to us when we made a call. It was $10,000 Tuesday when we had 3 cases, requests for bail that totaled about $10,000 in one day. We had a case dismissal, and then we were able to post a bail for the 2. And so, you know, like I said, with the with advocacy, with folks that are fighting cases, the same way, you know, things happen when we start, you know, pushing back on this bail thing. When we started, you know, asking about it, Marge Hunsaker got up on it, and she was like, come see me. Well, let's talk about it. And, you know, that case got dismissed. So, You know what I mean? There are allies out there that are wanting to see justice. There are allies that recognize that the system is flawed, or is working the way it's supposed to work against people of color and poor people and people that have disabilities and disorders. But we out here and we holding it down and we're standing in the gap. Couldn't do it without fierce advocates like Taria. Scotty's not on with us today, but he's in the course. He's doing prison visits, and it takes all of these arms of this system for oversight and accountability to try to reduce the amount of harm that's being done to people and done to innocent people that are being falsely accused, wrongly convicted, overcharged, over-sentenced. All of these things that are happening, we're trying to stand in the gap and push the pause button on the mass incarceration train that's sending poor people and people of color to jail. And so if you like what we're doing, please hit us up, subscribe to the channel, like our social media. If you want to be a court watcher or court supporter, please hit us up. There's room for folks in this movement. If you didn't see our last episode of Purely Speculation, From Trauma to Triumph, we had none other than the fabulous Akia the therapist. So any of you, if you want to learn about her and her story and see how she's giving back to the community and helping folks heal from their trauma and helping young people choose therapy over revenge. You want to get involved if you're a therapist or somebody that works in the mental health field. We can get you connected. We're just, like Taria said, educating people, letting you know that these resources are out there, that people are out there to help you. It's a safe space. We're creating safe spaces for our people. Like Taria said, with Gregory Womack and Mr. Lee creating their own business, we're creating communities, safe communities for our people to have employment, to have housing, to have, get the education and find love. You know what I'm saying? Like all these things that, folks think that formerly incarcerated people are not allowed to have, are not supposed to have, or shouldn't have because of, a crime that they committed or, whatever offense that happened. They're still here and they're still human and they still have a right to live the rest of their life. And so we just ask people to have compassion and understanding and that people do change. Like I'm not the same person I was yesterday. I pray that I'm a better person today. Can I share the Zoom link for Monday night? So Taria just, you're going to say something. So we have our participatory defense meetings meet every Monday night. I can give you the in-person location is 2627 Hillcrest Avenue in Norristown, Pennsylvania. If you want to join via Zoom, hit us up. You can hit Taria up at Taria@partdef. What's your email? TariaPartDef@gmail.com. TariaPartDef@gmail.com. We'll put those, her contact, the address, and my contact in the links or the chats tonight. And that way, if you want to join us, if you have a case, and that we will support anywhere. There's hubs across the country, but if folks are connected and feel more comfortable with us, we'll definitely connect you to the hub in your area, and we can kind of triage that. And we're just here to support and help people through their cases that they can get the best outcome. And with that, and we do usually have a what the fuck moment, and I'm just going to cut that short and say our what the fuck moment is we don't have a what the fuck moment. This was just such a good positive show that it's like, oh my God, what the fuck? We had nothing but good shit to say today. And so it's all good. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Taria, you the GOAT. And we'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Purely Speculation. If you learned something, share something. Please like, follow, and share this show. The more our communities know, the more they are empowered, and the faster we can create change. Purely Speculation would not be made possible without the generous support of the Community Justice Exchange, the Health Sparks Frank E. Boston Black Justice Fund, Philadelphia Foundation, and Reform Alliance. Thank you. Booyah.
Intuition different, already lived and dreamt it. Visions make my vision clear as I'm jogging through this fog of life. I be fog eyes with the fox head, body and I'm all set. Baby, can you be my girl?